Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Transformers, the show. We're joined by Chris McFeely tonight. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. No, lovely for you having on. And we've also got foreplay tonight with top 5 headmasters. Loads of news. There's a new MP10. Can you believe it? There's Blocky's Soundwave, Magic Square Dinobots, and a 6-foot unicorn to talk about tonight. All that and loads more in Transformers, the show.
It's time for Transformers, the show! From Michael Bay to Marvel, UK, everyone on in between. Breaking news and toy reviews, every robot fan's wet dream. Grab a brew and join the crew, become part of our scene. Bring your mom, let's drink her on, make sure you're at least 18. Welcome to the show, the party and the flow. Friday nights, let's go, Transformers, the show!
You know, I just saw a clip of myself in that opening credits roll there, and I am deeply concerned I may have worn the same shirt.
We do it every week.
I just thought that was a Northern Irish thing. You just go into
Yeah,
your
I just have
cupboard
the
and
one shirt, right?
Like Homer Simpson, lots of the same.
I kind of feel like that we owe you some money from like the £6 we make from YouTube every year now. Find out the proportion for it because you want some. Listen, thanks so much for joining us. We've got loads to go through tonight. I'm looking forward to the foreplay, but first of all, as always, we're going to start with the news.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
Right. If my Wi-Fi gives up the ghost, then I apologise, but you'll know because I'll freeze in an amusing place. Right. So we'll start with this. Via several retailers from Singapore and Malaysia, we got images and information about a new official Transformers Age of the Primes Magnets campaign. Yeah, Magnets by Hasbro Asia. Where if you spent a minimum of $120, which I'm assuming is Singaporean dollars, which is about 92 US dollars, then you got these magnets while stocks last. If you're over there in Singapore or Malaysia, you can get these lovely magnet sets when you buy the Transformers figures. I don't know if we're going to be able to get those anywhere else, like, you know, here or America, but there they are.
I mean, are magnets big in Singapore?
They're known for
Apparently.
it. Massive. Yeah. People are known for their love of magnets.
And the
Aren't they
limited
big
edition.
everywhere? Yeah, limited.
Yeah, 13 primes will be released.
That
There you
means
go.
few of them peak. You know, you don't get many.
And
Thanks
apparently
for clearing that up.
you'll be able to get
I'm there
a special
support you.
magnetic showcase frame will be available in the future if you make a purchase over 300 Singaporean dollars. That'll be released in 2026.
How much is that in British money?
Don't know. It works out as 231 US dollars. So I'll let you do the maths on that one. I'm not really about that. Anyway, if you like magnets, we know people, Spiderfell, who will find a way to get hold of this stuff. So, you know, we know that that's the case. And then seeing as it's May, here's some Christmas stuff. So as always is the way, Hallmark do these Transformers decorations for the trees and things like this. And there's going to be a Bumblebee from the first Bumblebee movie, the 1976 Chevrolet. And there's also Chevrolet Camaro, I should say. And there's also Megatron, but apparently without his gun and one really thick thigh. Weird. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure I want that. But yeah, these are going to be available on Hallmark's website, which I assume is over in the US. And they cost money. $24.99 for the Megatron, $29.99 for the Bumblebee. That's in US dollars. So yeah, that's the kind of thing you want to
So
collect.
Megatron's been neutered, basically, hasn't it? They've taken his cannon away.
Yeah, I don't get that. He's like pointing his arm where the cannon should be, and it's just not there. Like nobody told him. But anyway, these are available from July 12th.
That really seems like some kind of note that came down from Hallmark. You know, they designed the thing, and
No
Hallmark
guns.
was like, "Is that a gun he's got there? Get that out."
Get rid of that, thank you.
It's Christmas! No guns!
But evil Decepticons.
Unless it's Die Hard. Right, moving on. This caused much excitement. Or, well, not necessarily this, but these new images and information about officially licensed Transformers Optimus Prime bookends, but not just bookends. There's more coming up. So you can buy these, or you will be able to buy these. They stand at 20 centimeters tall, weigh 1.3 kilograms, and they're bookends, officially licensed.
Yeah, they're right.
Look,
you remember when news of an officially licensed Transformers product was rare enough to get you excited?
Are you not excited by this, Chris? You're not excited by the bookend?
It is a very nice sculpt.
It's just that. It's just Hasbro have become very liberal with the license, haven't they, over the last 3 years? And I've noticed that in our news. Like 5 years ago, this would have been like 1 out of every 6 months, and now it's like 6 in every 1 month. We get some crazy thing there.
Very slop oriented, since the 40th anniversary fund, basically.
Yeah.
Like they're just trying to make money. Anyway, these will be available. I don't have any information on the cost of them, but I'm guessing they won't be cheap. These things rarely are. That wasn't really news, but it slipped into our news thing. But Scott McNeil will be at TFN. I think TFN were just reminding everybody of all the fantastic guests they're getting for TFN. So we'll skip on to the blockies because, we haven't talked about them for a week. So this is Defender version, Scrapper, Mixmaster, and Long Haul, who combine, of course, to form Devastator with Bone Crusher, Hook, and Scavenger for reference. So we have shown some of the early release pictures of the blockies Devastator. Any thoughts on this, Chris? Are you a blockies fan? Will you be planning to pick this up?
I'm not collecting blockies, but I love and respect them.
Very tactfully done.
I can't let them in, because if I let them in, I would be in trouble. I don't have the space. And it's a little bit like BotBots, where when they were first revealed, it's like, oh, what wonderful, lovely little things. And now there are 17 million of them after what feels like about 3 months. And it's already too much for me.
There are a lot of them. But they are very good.
There are the normal ones, there are the slightly bigger ones, there are the bigger ones, there are the really big ones, and now they're the Diddy ones. And now there's this, what even this is, little tiny vehicles.
Defenders, they're baby versions.
Is that the Diddy ones?
Yeah.
The super deformed looking ones almost.
Well, there you go. There they are. So that was some blockies because we never talk about them. And as you're excited about the bookends, you'll absolutely love this. It's an officially licensed tankard made by UK company Nemesis Now. And I know for a fact this will be stocked by friends of the show, Primetime Toys, as well. So this is a tankard, obviously, that features Optimus Prime and Rodimus Prime and Cybertronian text. And yeah.
You know what? Respect them for putting Rodimus on it.
Yeah.
Doesn't get enough love these days.
I like the handle as a Matrix.
Doesn't look like it'd be super comfortable to hold.
No, I don't know if I'd want to drink from it.
But then that's the question. Are you really meant to? It looks like I'm sure it's food safe and everything, but is it more of an ornamental piece?
Exactly.
Is that Rodimus's official gun there? I think not. I don't know.
Go take me back. Let me have another look.
I don't think it is. His gun is huge.
That's
one of Hot Rod's guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like Rodimus Prime. He's my favourite because obviously I feel represented when I see his big gun. So I've got a kinship there.
Of course, is it even Rodimus? Is it just Hot Rod?
Maybe it is just Hot Rod. It must be. Not very pink though.
Get zoomed in on that face, see if he's got the age lines. The only way you can tell the difference.
Age lines.
Yeah, it does say in the description that it's Rodimus, but it does kind of have a little bit. It looks
controversy live on the show, Andy. That's what we have.
Was it Titanium? The Titanium Rodimus Prime they did once. It has a little bit of the look of the rest of that. Which was a terrible, terrible toy.
And yet still one of the better titanium offerings.
Which says it all, really, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, this has generally caused a bit of excitement amongst at least people we know. So, yeah.
Rodimus and deconstructed it. Yes, it was brilliant until that very
Oh yeah,
moment.
that'll put everybody off now. It definitely looks more like Hot Rod there. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I think that's Hot Rod.
If you want
Yeah.
this, you can, I'm sure, order this from Primetime Toys. Moth will tell us in the chat whether it's up on the website yet. But that will be available. And why not? And then we had this, which was thanks to the TFW 2005 board member Zodiac, and then a load of numbers after his name. The full lineup of the upcoming Galaxy version Wave 7. So we can see them there. I think, Paul, you shared an image of, was that basically of this lineup?
It was like
Really
someone had
badly
taken
played.
it like a mile away on their Game Boy Color camera.
It really was.
It was that sort of level of resolution. This is much better than what I sent to the news.
Yeah, I didn't put that picture in because I tried. I downloaded it, looked at it, I went, no, I'm not showing that on screen. Anyway, you got B127 Cog, D16, Alphatron, Elita 1, Orion, Pax Cog, Starscream, Soundwave, Shockwave, Megatron, Final Form, Megatron Final Form Chase because it's a metallic deco. So that's the difference between the one in the top left and the one next to it. So there. Blockies.
That's the one thing you really have to give to Blockies is how much love they've shown Transformers 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't assemble a cast of Transformers 1 toys on the order of anything you can do with Blockies. Like,
And
Especially
it's quite
now,
cool when they do the localization, you know, to give the profiles and a bit of a, you know, a script about the history of the characters. So that's quite cool.
It was out on Sky Cinema, wasn't it? Last week before? Watched it
I'm
with the
not sure.
kids.
Yeah, it's up on Sky Cinema now, yeah.
Just kind of like, it's quite some distance away now, isn't it, from the release? But Blockies is still...
yeah, still pumping them out.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think that might be the first female Galaxy figure in Elite 1 there.
I think so. I think I've heard people say that. Yeah.
So, this is something slightly different. So, Chris, I'm sure you'll probably be aware of this, but this is the Thunderclash comic book that is done in a association with Toy-Fu, I believe. And they've contacted us and asked us just to let people know about this. So they will be doing another comic book. This is the cover for it, which is pretty fierce. The colors were by J.C. Burcham. And the synopsis of the story is apparently that the Turbomasters crash on an unknown planet and are forced into a combined form by Overlord, who uses the enigma of combination to create combiners and force them to battle to the death. And I believe this is a piece of original art design. Now, I don't actually have the name of the person who's done that design, but there's loads of UK artists involved in this. You probably know a lot more about this than me, Chris, do you?
I don't have a list in front of me either, but
I have a list. I do have a list because I did get that.
I don't know the details of the story or anything. I can't comment on that. All I can say is that there might be something between the covers that has my hand in it.
There you go, exclusive there from Chris.
Interesting.
So, artists or people who've contributed to it include, well, Chris, obviously, Jim Stafford, Gavin Spence, Ed and Ben Perry, James Marsh, and Winston Chan. They've all worked on it this year as well. They've got Jack Lawrence, friend of the show, Jack Lawrence, Chris Carter, Nick Roach, and Abby Bulmer, who will all be providing. It says pin-ups, which I assume is like actual artwork as opposed to just photographs of them in the boudoir. The old style pin-ups. Or maybe it is, and maybe that's a bonus. Maybe that's something you get with
Maybe
it.
that's a special edition.
But this does look really good, and I know that this is certainly. I remember seeing something about this last year, and I didn't really know what was going on. So thank you to the guys for contacting us. If you are interested in this, you want to find out more about it, they have is it called a coffee rather than Ko-fi, that you can go and donate and support it. As it says there, it's an annual Transformers fan comic produced in association with Toy-Fu in aid of Mary's Meals. And as everybody who watches this show knows, we do like to help and support.
I hope David
Toy-Fu
isn't
Mary's
joking
Meals.
there. I hope he's not joking. Be disappointed now.
I can't see what you said. Is it
David
about
Cousins
boudoir
said
photos?
the boudoir photos cost extra, which is fair enough.
Yeah, well, I'll pay. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. It's not important. We don't need to talk about that right now. Anyway, so yes, get over, have a look, donate, and it looks like it's going to be really good this year. We'll have more news on that as we get it. Moving on. Oh, I always hate saying this because I always want to say Audley. It's not Audley, it's Aldi. Aldi Transformers AAE Bumblebee. There it is.
That's
Bumblebee,
hideous.
give me sultry. Give me sultry.
It's
Work for the
face,
camera.
No, what's the
He's so
face?
grumpy. Why are you so grumpy, bro?
He looks like a mad 5-year-old.
Pout.
You just told him he can't have a biscuit.
Pout for me.
What is going on?
I just.
Yeah, that's not a great face.
It's like those sour sweets we had at that toy convention, Pete.
Yeah.
No, not any better. Do you think it's just the way they're taking the photo? The light's just smacking right into the face.
Like a
No,
like a
I
fence
think
panel.
it's the face sculpt is. Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
what
where
that-
the light should be from the top to create a shadow so we can see detail.
I think the figure looks decent. Yeah, but the face sculpt. I hope it comes with other face sculpts so you can swap them out or something, or other heads.
It's got to be a little hard to get too excited about another line of action figure. Are these model kits or are they
Model
figures?
kits again, I think.
They're
yeah,
kits
that-
again?
No,
Like,
no,
I
they're
mean,
not. They just
they're
come
not
up.
kits? They're just figures, right?
They're just
Oh, right.
figures.
Oh, right, there you go. They look like model kits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like what was the last? What do you call them?
RET.
Oh, I'm completely blanking
Yeah,
on them.
no-
They're the guys that did the Transformers 1 kits and things as well, just last year.
Slockies.
No,
Yellow
not
Park.
Blockies. The other
Yellow
ones.
Park.
The red
Yellow
red
Park,
figure.
that's it,
Oh,
yes.
Yellow Park.
I mean, those are notionally model kits, but they're really
Yeah.
action figures that you snap together because they couldn't license action figures and they did model kits instead. But so that's why I thought maybe these were model kits. But I don't know, man. It's just hard to get worked up about another figure of
I
Bumblebee.
think
isn't
the
it?
Ravage kicks ass. The
Nice
Ravage.
Ravage,
I think
yeah.
the Ravage is a must.
Yeah,
We
it
need
does
that.
look good.
The shrapnel looks good. They do look a bit like model kits, though.
I've got the laser beak actually.
Oh well, Dalbear in the chat says they do come in parts, like arms and legs are separate. So I guess that makes them model kits then.
Kind
You
of,
know,
yeah.
for the in the same way that Jaffa cakes are biscuits.
Just
The
a cake.
laser beak.
Bats. Right, let's move on. Blockies, because we haven't mentioned them for a few minutes. So this is their Action Edition. Is it Transformers 1 Soundwave, or is it just normal G1 Soundwave? I can't remember.
Well, this is G1 Action Edition Soundwave, and
There
the
you go.
thing about it, it's going for another potential name change where they'll keep both names going at the same time because they're calling it Legend now, which I think is quite cool because they know third party Legend means the smallest. Blockies has went stuff that we're going to make Legend the biggest. So they're going with that sort of tagline. So just now it's Action Edition Legend, and eventually that may be watered out to eventually just become Legend. Like Classic Classes Champion.
It's definitely an official Hasbro Transformers product whenever they randomly reuse the word of a previous size class or toy line for something completely new and unrelated.
Yeah.
Standard.
I think the biggest disappointment with it, and it's hard to be disappointed with Soundwave because it's just awesome, is it's just like Laserbeak again, isn't it? Where people probably wanted a Ravage because you got Laserbeak, I think, with Megatron.
The
With
Cybertronian
this
Laserbeak,
size
isn't it?
class.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the same size class.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there it is. So if you're a Soundwave fan, and let's be honest, who isn't?
I guess you could paint it; and it can
pick
become
this
Buzzsaw. Customize us.
It does appear to be Cybertronian Laserbeak, though, based on
Yeah.
that. So I suppose that's how they're justifying it not being the same thing again. If it was
Yeah.
an Earth
Yeah.
Laserbeak that came with Megatron, you see Soundwave, you expect to see Laserbeak with him.
Does it play sound? Because I'm just wondering why it has all those mics there.
It
Does
says
that
audio,
come with it? Yeah.
unless that's
Audio
just
1,
on there for
Audio
the
2,
effect.
Audio 3. I assume.
Yeah.
It sounds like it plays sounds.
We will see.
Yeah,
Right,
they've been doing ones that have lights, so I suppose sounds is the next step up.
exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, wow.
This is something slightly different. So this is coming to, well, this TFW 2005 reported this, that via Hobby Dengakai, they had information about a new Transformers crossover with Evangelion that was in the works. So this picture is just to kind of like demonstrate. It's don't, you know, it just gives anybody's getting really excited because what's in the picture. There's no images or anything yet, but the article stated that a new collaboration will be presented at the Shizuoka Hobby Show on May the 14th to May the 18th to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the Neon Genesis Evangelion anime. So yeah.
What do we reckon? Which prime are they painting in those colors this time?
I wonder. I wonder.
The last masterpiece, the new commander class, that new masterpiece.
Well, we've had a previous collaboration, haven't we? 2014 with the MP10 convoy mode. Yeah, so it could be another prime again.
I'm sure it said MP10.
Yeah, that was the previous one. That was what was in the notes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's fine. And I mean, it could be. I don't know why they'd use MP10 again necessarily, but it could be certainly a prime because, you know, we haven't had enough Optimus Prime toys.
Charlie G says they already did a masterpiece Optimus painted in Unit 01 color scheme. Yes, exactly. They've already done a lot of masterpiece Optimus Primes. This is their excuse to do it again.
Let's do some more.
Fair, Optimus Prime is quite a rare, obscure figure in the Transformers franchise. I showed Bill last week when me and Sixo randomly decided to post photos of his character.
Completely random.
It's just like Takara. We're just like, oh, is it your 30th birthday, Neo Evangelion? And they're like, yeah. Do you want us to do a prime? If you want to, yeah, we'll do a prime because it's your 30th birthday. Just give any excuse to do a prime.
Anyway, big hello to Takara. Right, we'll move on. A couple more pictures of oldie. I fucking hate it.
I thought up until right now that it was Oddly.
I always want to say Oddly. It's Oldie anyway. And you've
Oldie
got
is something else. Oldie is something else in this country. You tell me you're bringing out an Aldi brand Megatron, I'm not reaching for my wallet. You know,
they better be cheap. Anyway, he has crop
the
thrust.
Germans have messed up the face. I don't think so.
I always forget that. Yeah. Aldi. Now you're getting me thinking about Aldi. Right. It's got crotch thrust. It's Megatron. It's G1 Megs. It won't transform, obviously. But if you want one that looks a bit like G1 Megatron from the cartoon, I guess, then
That actually looks not too bad.
Better than the Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I mean, almost anything's better than the Bumblebee. But yes, it looks decent. And there is Skywarp, the finest of the Seekers, with the best color scheme.
And these are the elite class.
Yes. Yes, this is the actual elite line.
How tall are they? They got to be.
An excellent question.
They got to be 6 inches, isn't they?
I thought so. Are they a similar size to the Action Edition blocky ones? Maybe.
I don't think they're that big.
See, I don't have any. Paul, do you have some of these?
Got two, but I don't, they're not the Action Edition. I don't think. Just the normal size. I've got Laserbeak there. He's this big. He's quite small, but quite highly detailed. But again, like you said, Chris, don't really need another line of Transformers that don't transform to collect.
I actually had no idea that these were out already. I feel like this particular wave was the first I was hearing of them. Is there a bunch of these that have been released already?
Yeah.
You can't keep up anymore unless you do a weekly news show, obviously. But you know.
Yeah, we still get confused about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
We have no choice. We have to keep up with it. But yeah, they're all right. The Audley figures. Just do we need them? Probably don't.
I want the Ravage though.
The Ravage looks cool. The Ravage looks cool. Bit of third party news.
Why not, eh?
All right, let's do it.
Battle tank!
Battle this.
It's heavy metal cruncher time as Optimus Prime goes toe-to-toe with Combat Megatron. Prime is one tough dude underneath his hood. He's a transformer missile fire phenomenon. Combat Megatron is combat armed. His mighty mega missiles are slamming. He can metamorph and use mega force, but Combat Optimus is still standing.
Right. All right. As we said, there's not enough Optimus Prime toys in the world, so let's start off with some third-party Optimus Prime toys. It's Galaxy Toys Mini 01T microscale transparent Optimus Prime, but they've just taken photos of like all the ones they've done so far to start off with. So
there's an Evangelion one right there.
Yeah. Who
Third
needs
party.
an Optimus Prime? Because they've got a few. These are small though, aren't they? The microscale ones. They're
To be
like
fair, if they
micro,
release
right?
these as a set, like all of them, if there's one set, a gift set which came out that, I'd buy that. Probably not with. I wouldn't need like 15 trailers, but I'd buy that. I'd buy that many primes in different colours. That's lovely. But yeah, they're micro scale, Doctor Who type style. So
Put the trailers away like you do with all the trailers for every other Optimus Prime anybody ever gets. Nobody wants the trailers, for Christ's sake. Stick them back in the box and put them in storage. Loads of them there. Oh, look,
Surely,
there's Ultra
but
Magnus.
now at this point though, with the offerings and we're spoilt with third-party companies, you'd want to be the one that stood yourself like apart, wouldn't you? You're the one that hasn't done a prime. You've done the characters that haven't been done yet. I don't know.
Well, they like to do transparent ones because transparent toys is what apparently everybody wants, at least according to a lot of third-party companies, because we seem to get a lot of these transparent versions of figures, especially in the Legends game.
yeah,
Is it big in the Legends? I don't collect Legends, so...
it's smaller than Legends. This is, isn't it? Smaller.
Well,
Oh, sorry, I meant transparent plastic. Is it
Oh, is
like
it big?
in the Legends
Oh,
game?
it's huge.
Is it like
It's almost as
popular?
big as magnets in Singapore.
We need more magnet news every week. We'll have a little special corner for it. Anyway, there's the trailer. If you want see-through plastic stuff that might snap in pieces, you will be overjoyed with this. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure the quality is very good. I just get paranoid with transparent plastic. I really do. And there's the trailer and a little teeny tiny roller as well. Lovely.
I like
the
a roller.
excitement. Who doesn't like a roller? I mean,
Why
that
do
must
they
be
put
small.
a roller in. Like, what is the trailer if you don't even put a roller in it? You know.
Exactly. Tell Hasbro that. Right. From tiny to not so tiny. So this is a custom 3D printed divorce class, 6 foot, 1.83 meters, Unicron by Alvin Reyes of Transformers 3D Printing. He has included in the photos a human for scale. The human, just for anybody who wants to know, is 4 foot 6 inches tall, which is 1.37 meters. So there is the. It's not finished, obviously. He's got a foot to come on it, but there he is laid down. There they are measuring it just to prove the size of the damn thing. Bear in mind, I'm 6'1.5" ish. Paul, what are you? 6'6", something like that.
6'4".
6 foot. Oh yeah, I always thought you were.
No,
Pete, how tall are
Yeah.
you?
I'm like 6'3.5", and Paul towers over me.
Chris,
I was gonna
you're
say,
about as well,
I
aren't
thought-
you? You 6'4".
I'm a 6'4", yeah.
Yeah, Jamie, you're here.
Pete, I was just thinking, Pete, are you sure you're 6'3.5"? Maybe you're 6'2".
Mate, you're 5'2". You don't get you don't get opinion.
I don't care. I don't care because you know what? I'm bigger than Malin. That's all that matters.
We could lay you next to this Unicron and find out exactly how tall everybody is. There you go. There's the person for scale. And thank you for Jamie for the smiley face.
It should be noted. I think credit also goes to Michael Ryan, who I think might have helped design it, if not design the thing.
All right.
And information's on the Facebook group, Transformers 3D Printing, where you will get all the help and they will gladly talk about it there.
Yeah. But there you go. If you've ever wanted a non-transforming 6 foot Unicron to stand in the corner of your room, well, you'd have to speak to them.
We did make a post and we said non-transforming. We made a video that said non-transforming, and the number one question is,
It's
does
always,
it transform?
transform? Read the post. Anyway, moving on. It doesn't bother me. I don't let it bother me. It doesn't get to me. We're not allowed to swear anymore. Right, Mecha Invasion, Heavy Builder, yellow. I spoke about this last week. We said that Mecha Invasion had done their Devastator in the traditional green and purple, and they'd done a yellow version. But when I had tried to download photos of the yellow version, the photos didn't work. The computer didn't like them. Computer said no. So we have now got some pictures of it. These came from Weibo, Weibo user Ingram. And there you see their alt modes. So these are the toys we've shown before in green, but you just get them in yellow now. Some say the superior color scheme. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some do. Modes. I mean, they're stylized, but I do like them. It's not my favorite version of Scrapper.
No.
The bucket feet is not. I'm not a fan. And anyway, they look all right. They look decent, and I do like them in the combined form.
They look better combined than they do individually.
Agreed.
Marginally.
I'd have that on a shelf, but my understanding is they're like masterpiece scale, so I'd need I need a lot of space on that shelf, and space is at a premium right now. So, but anyway, they will be coming out. We've already had the green versions. Several people we know have the green versions, so something to look forward to. And then is this New Age or
Magic Square?
Magic Square. I always get those two mixed up. And this is their Dinobots. So we've got the test shots of Stegosaurus and Pterosaur, which obviously is Snarl and Swoop, but there's also some group shots at the end as well. So the best Dinobot there.
Been waiting an absolute age for these two to be released.
Who's your favourite Dinobot, Chris?
Snarl was my first Dinobot. It was either him or I can never remember the precise order, but it was either Snarl or Starscream was my very first Transformers toy way back when. And yet I hold no particular attachment to Snarl. These days I'd probably say I probably lean towards Slag these days. Because he just had a really good arc in the IDW comics, and it's the first time anyone's ever really done that for a Dinobot in a long time. We all love Grimlock from the Marvel days and from everything that's been done with him since. And Swoop's had his moments over the time, and then there are the other two guys, and then there's Slag.
I love Sludge. I think at the time when you're a kid, for a lot of our lives, you get that every kid goes through. My kids go through it, where dinosaurs are the most important thing in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of the question of who's your favorite Dinobot is sort of it's part of the question of what's your favorite dinosaur, isn't it?
Yeah, and
so that is going to inform your choice.
Bronchosaurus Diplodocus was my favorite, and then I got this,
there you go,
which could transform. It was insane. It was blew my 5-year-old mind.
So we're all agreed it's Snarl. Good, right? There's the group shot for you. Pete will literally be very aroused right now.
Them two, and the set is complete.
And there they are in beastie modes.
I like the beast set. Have you got the New Age ones as well, Pete? Though.
Yeah.
And which ones do you prefer?
Oh, you git.
Choose your favourite child.
Harsh, all right.
The New Age ones. The New Age ones. The colours. New Age are the fans' toys version for Legend of Scale, and they are excellent. But that's not to throw shade on Magic Square. Magic Square have done a great job, and they're very toon accurate. But New Age is better, in my opinion. In my humble opinion.
I agree.
Too late now, Magic Square. We're watching you blown it now, Pete. Right, we'll move on. The long-awaited TFC Toys S05 Jakiro, which is their version of Hunger, to finish off their Terracons, to complete their Terracon, their version of Abominus, which is called Satan. So here he is.
Right, we want to keep it light, fellas. What should we call him? Satan.
Third-party names. Satan. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell if I like this or not. Very stylized Hunger. And I like Hunger.
Yeah, I mean, you take those colors away and you show me the grey proto, is there anything of Hunger in there beyond the fact that it's got two heads?
It does look very different. I wonder if we'll like the robot mode more. Let's
probably
find out.
Even less.
There's the robot mode. Yeah.
I mean, look, I feel like I'm quite qualified to say this because I have a massive forehead. but he has a massive forehead.
I'm not really sure how to respond to that. It's posable. It completes the set. There'll be a lot of people who've been waiting a long time for this who will be happy. If you like the other ones, I guess you want a stylized hunger. I mean, you must. But
it's a no from me.
I think the Power of the Primes one looks better, in my opinion. But I'm old, so oh my god, it's the head. That is a lot of forehead. It's a massive head on him there. But he has got articulated fingers, so you know that's something.
To caress his massive head.
Stroke it. He also has a ridiculous sized gun, but I'm guessing that's because it combines with the other weapons to make a huge Abominus gun. Sorry, Satan gun. There you go. That everything? Yeah, that's everything. That's all the news. Wait.
Cool. I think that's done in record time. We need to sort out these the pictures. Don't know why it keeps going weird. Right, let's move on to pickups then.
We now return to the Transformers.
So, what did we get this week? Well, I only got one thing. I got a couple of bits this week. One of them hasn't turned up, which is I found another ST Commander, which, if you're not sure what an ST Commander is, it's this huge Optimus Prime, very G.I. Joey, but they do one which is slightly different. It's a bit more intercontinental ballistically, and it's in Snow White. So, I found one for a good price. That's on its way, so I'm looking forward to that. The only one I picked up was, I think it's the Legacy Prime this week, which was £18 in Smiths, which I'm not sure if that's a good deal or not. I don't know what I think about this guy. It's a bit like, he's not detailed enough to make him a really nice little Prime, but he's not sort of cheap enough, like £19 to make it sort of worth getting. I don't know, he's almost too different to the original G1 Prime. I guess you got the missing link one. I would love to compare him to that. But it's quite cool that Legacy done that. They went for a cheeky G1 Prime. In his robot mode, he looks exactly very identical to the Blockies figure of the same type. But yeah, that was my only pickup. Andy, what did you get? Let's start with you, sir.
I've only got two very random things thanks to a £20 Amazon voucher. So I'll go with the non-Transformers one first. I got a
Nice.
Turtles of Grayskull Casey Jones because it was cheap, and I quite like the design of this Casey Jones. So he will go with the rest of my unopened Turtles collection. One day to be opened, as I keep telling my children. I'm not letting them open it. And then I got completely randomly, because it was really cheap, I got Lift Ticket, which is a red version of Hoist, and that's about all I can say. It's Hoist in red. It's all right. I like it. I always had a soft spot for Hoist as a kid, but I used to get him muddled up with Trailbreaker when I was a kid, just because they're both boring or about kind of 4x4 type vehicles. Sorry to all the Trailbreaker fans and Hoist fans out there who will now come at me, but I don't care. But I like this version. I don't know why, but something about him being in yellow and red just makes him seem more interesting.
Yeah.
And it's pretty poseable, and the joints on it are all really good. And I've always loved the kind of faceplate on the head. The camera's not going to pick it up, so I'm not going to waste my time. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got this week.
Cool. Jamie, your next. What did you get, sir?
I went this week. I went to Nerdbase, and to be honest, nothing really interested me. So I was thinking to myself, I wish I went to In-Demand Toys. Hopefully Nerdbase aren't listening.
That's a big shout out to Nerdbase.
Yeah,
there goes that sponsorship deal.
Because
ban that man.
Because the thing with Nerdbase is it's got such amazing, wonderful stock and amazing people, and but I was just interested in Transformers. That I was just in a Transformers mid. So when you got something like that, which is so much different sort of merchandise, it was kind of lost in me. Where I was thinking, if I went to In-Demand Toys, I would have just got lost in all the Transformers that they really have and the massive collections that they have. And then I would have got the chance to see some Transformers that have not been released yet. But Nerdbase do have good value for my money, so I was able to pick up a red.
I love those.
So I've got that. That's good. You know, Maylin's happy. Representation in my toy line for her.
Best toy packaging as well, I think.
Well, you know, I did bring my magnifying glass, so Maylin had to provide the light source because it was quite dark in their base, and I was inspecting the toys, as you know, before I got that, which, you know, was quite important because when it came to getting this guy, you know, so many in Smith's toys just had so many face defects, you know, with the eyes are scraped and stuff like that. But managed to get one good version, so that was quite cool. It was obviously really high up, you know, above 5 foot, so we had to get ladders to get it. But managed to get this down. I think the lady was quite bemused as I had like 4 other boxes and I was inspecting each one. This one passed the test, so I'm quite happy with this. I do think Hasbro should move away from so much paint on the faces and maybe try to use colored plastic more. Because if paint's so thick in that, you know, with all of them, it sort of covers the detail in the actual face, you know, as they've got silver sort of paint on it. Also managed to pick up Bumblebee, but she's going to be kept in this packet. I'm just a sucker for the packaging, really. Just takes you back. Because to be quite honest, the main character's a bit, toys a bit, not so great now. We've got, you know, Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. It would have been quite cool maybe if the windows were painted blue, because you didn't need to do all that compression, so that might have been a nice thing. Or it came with the original face. But for some reason, they put on the face from the sort of Bumblebee Netflix toy, which I don't really understand. And obviously the face has got like, it's like weird. It's almost like they've got this sort of like an old early drawings of Bumblebee Transformers used to have the details on the face. You know, it's almost like a tattoo. You know, sort of like the sort of topography of a robotic face. So it's almost like they've done one half of Bumblebee's face like that. Then they lost interest, and the other half is just like the sort of modern take, nice and sort of clean. So that's kind of weird. But if you're old and that, your eyesight probably won't notice those details. But yes,
I haven't done a version of that mold with a toy-based head, have they?
No, not yet.
Yeah, because Gears has one, but the Earthrise, whichever. Yeah, there hasn't been a toy head retool of that, has there? No, that's a shame, because it's kind of, when they've done the black window, obviously the color scheme is supposed to look like the old toy because it's got the black windows, but then you get whenever you've got well, I suppose the thing of it was that Bumblebee was the retool that sculpt was planned for, so he was built into it, and I suppose Gears' toy accurate head was the head they built into the tooling, so they didn't have to do anything new for it, whereas I suppose in that case creating a new toy-based head would have required them to do something new, which is not what that subclass is for.
I wish they would have just done it, though. I wish they would have put that still toy head, because I think Takara would at least maybe had a mold and it might have worked for the missing link thing. They would at least have had something to work with, you know, downscale or upscale it. Thanks to Moth, I got Hot Wheels Bumblebee. That's quite cool, and that will go with my Optimus Prime, which Andy got for me a while back, so that's quite cool. So that was thank you to Muff for getting me that and sending it to me.
Sorry, Matt just said, I always wonder what they'd do if they just used the wheeled stepladder thing myself and Smith's. They're always out, aren't they? Every Smith's you go to in the Transformers toy aisle has the big yellow stepladder, doesn't it?
Always in the way of something. Yeah. Always out for some reason. Yeah. Well, most of us are the bigger boys that people ask to reach things off the high shelves.
I didn't want to say, Chris, but yeah, we are. And
it's true.
Well, actually, I get asked all the time because I'm nimble and I can jump. And I can jump.
Scale those shelves like
a Russian gymnast.
you blink and I'm gone. I'm up there. So I not bad stuff. I do wish I went in demand. I'm probably going to do that next weekend or something like that. In demand toys. Go to is it Norwich? I've got to find the right city. Maylin knows that. Yes. I don't bother about where these locations are. I just tell her this is where I want to go, you know, and I hope to arrive in a timely fashion.
Mine now.
If you can add in photo there.
Yeah, cool.
Obviously this week I've been very busy playing Expedition 33, which is a new JRPG which has come out. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. So I've only done one photo this entire week, which I usually do 3 or 4, and maybe 5 sometimes. So that is it. That's my 2 photos I've done, and that's a primer. I like it. I like his alt mode. I think it's nice and colourful. It's not too bad. Yeah. I'm looking forward to having more Age of the Primes coming out, hopefully soon.
Cool. Anything else, Jamie?
Actually, no. That's all. That's all I've had this week.
Yeah, that's funny. I've done Expedition 33 about 10 minutes into it, which is not long. But I started playing it, thought this is brilliant. Then I fell asleep, went to bed, and then I've just seen on Facebook like non-stop people going, "This game is brilliant," especially if you love turn-based RPGs like I do. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. Chris, have you picked up any recent Transformers?
Yes, it's been a pretty quiet year for me thus far. Honestly, I haven't picked up much at all. But this week, as luck would have it, my pre-orders on Solus and Prima did finally come in.
Nice.
I am I'm all in on scene on the 13 primes from the Age of the Primes. Honestly, I think I've been saying it for a while now because they keep doing such good stuff since Siege started, basically. I think generally the Hasbro, the Generations line has been on a really good track. But you do find yourself asking, well, now that you've done the optimal versions of so many characters, what do you do next?
Photobots.
Well, as they came towards the end of the War for Cybertron trilogy, that's when I started asking, and then Legacy happened, and Legacy's answer was, well, we'll do stuff from other series. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I think as we've gone through Legacy, we've seen how some toys just don't need updated modern versions. Because it's still mostly G1 stuff they did throughout Legacy, even though there were lots of other things pulled in from other places. We got things like, and there were some things that were worthy, like, say, Rescue Bots Chase, a totally different approach to doing that character in toy form that had never been done before. Or things like Prime Skyquake and Dreadwing, or Prime Bulkhead, which were like or the animated characters, which is about putting a different aesthetic spin on them. But, you look at something like the new Cybertron Sideways that's coming up, for instance, looks by all accounts to be a very nice toy. Absolutely don't need it. Have the original. There's nothing there that I need, Likewise, didn't bother with Vector Prime because I have the original and I don't need a retooled G-Axis. Mind you, I'll probably wind up eating those words whenever I have 12 Prime figures and need to fill that 13th slot, but that's why Age of the Primes really has my attention, because now they're doing a 2-year toy line where the focus is on characters who have literally never, ever had toys before. So, yeah, I'd already decided I was all in on these guys. And I got Megatronus a month or two ago when he came out. And talk about a tremendous kickoff. Wow, love that figure. These two are very nice, but Megatronus set some very high expectations that I don't think these two quite live up to. They're a little fiddlier than he is, I think. A little bit of just fiddlier. That's the only word I can use to describe them. But they cut very nice figures. Prima, for goodness sake, with the head pulled from the G1 cartoon character that was retconned into being Prima. And their alternate modes are odd little things. It's like they're all characters who were never conceived as having alternate modes, so that the alternate modes are like fully made up, but at least they have a bit of character to them, But just as long as we can get some of them that aren't trucks going forward, we have Onyx, who's a beast, and Megatronus, who's a tank, and everyone else we've seen so far is a truck. So let's have more than trucks coming down the line, and that doesn't mean everyone else just has to be jets. Just do something a bit more exciting. But no, I'm 100% all in on them doing the primes.
I do wish Solus was bigger, Voyager class. I think she could have done with that.
Well, all the primes are supposed to be big guys, is the thing. I kind of like the size she is standing next to Megatronus. Because, I'm sorry, I am that guy who's had them posed with him lovingly cupping her face. And I just kind of like the height disparity. You know, you need a good height disparity to have a good ship. That's what they tell me anyway. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing. Well, I'm ready to see more. That's the thing. I'm really looking forward to Onyx, but it's still absolutely ages till he comes out, and I'm ready to see more of the Primes. You know, I don't have a lot of pre-orders in on anything else from Age of the Primes. I haven't bitten on the aerial bots yet. Perhaps if I see them in person on the Smith's shelf, I might go for them. But they don't feel like something I need to pounce on. Same for the Studio 86 Constructicons, you know. I'm going to grab Red Alert probably to complete the set of Legacy Armada characters, because Red Alert was one of my all-time favorite Armada toys. But yeah, the thing that has my attention with Age of the Primes is the Primes. I mean, as soon as Star Convoy was announced, that was a day one open palm slam pre-order on that. And that was a delight, because I was not expecting much from that. I don't know if you guys talked about it when it was announced originally, but the way the Titan size class had been trending after Nemesis and after Cybertron, Megatron, and after Tidal Wave, when they announced we were getting a Titan class Star Convoy, I was expecting something with all the features and playability stripped out, and a Micromaster hot rod fully costed out, a bigger but lesser version of the original toy. And instead what they've dropped is something that does everything the original toy did and more, and with more articulation. All it doesn't have is battery operated parts, you know. And I think it looks terrific, and I'm really looking forward to getting a hold of it.
I wish the hot rod was a Micromaster, though. The modern Micromasters.
I haven't seen. I've heard people say that, but I haven't seen images to show me exactly what size he is. But yeah, you do kind of wish. But I'm not going to say no to a bigger toy. But
that's awesome. Awesome. Right. Chris, did you get anything else?
Nope, just those two this week.
Then Pete, it's over to you, sir.
I got a few bits this week because I celebrated a birthday last Sunday, so it's a right old mix. So we got some Thundercats. So quick pick. Bill.
My God, they really are making figures of absolutely ananybody out of that cartoon at this point, aren't they?
It's almost like they need to keep the wave going.
Is that a specific burble, that other one?
It was Robo Bill.
The main one.
Yeah.
Surprised they haven't done him. They got to the point where they're doing Robert Bill, and Quick Pick is the way of me with that guy. You think Robert Bill would be pretty high up on the list of supporting characters from the show that would get done toys faster?
I think they're being quite clever, where they've got a headliner in each wave to try and incentivize you to get them all. But I think there are going to be some serious shelf warmers.
Who else is in that wave, dare I ask, then?
I think there's a Fundarian Guard. Yeah. And is it potentially Kid Lion-O? I don't know.
There's Cheetah's aunt's neighbour, Barry. Is one of the characters they're releasing.
Oh, Barry. Everybody loved him.
Favorite Thundercat of the lot, though, was Snarf. I was missing him. He is exceptional, and he disappeared because I think he's so exceptional. So to have that as a birthday present was wonderbar. I really like that. So we all know.
When I went back to Thundercats years ago now, obviously, whenever it came out on DVD, because when we were all in our 20s, it was all like, oh, Snarf, oh, Orko, oh, Scrappy Doo. We went through that phase where we hated all the, the kid animal sidekicks, and going back to Thundercats and discovering that Snarf is just. I love Snarf. He is the wettest blanket. He is the sensible adult. wryly and miserably commenting on everything that's going on around him. I think Snarf's great.
He's awesome. He was one of the only we have teddies as a kid. Like for some reason, I had a Snarf and Super Ted. That was my two plushies, as they call them nowadays.
A Snarf teddy now that's in good condition is like triple digits.
Yeah,
it's so
Mum.
valuable.
Mum, get in the attic. Get in the attic. That's enough.
I'm all in for Masters of the Universe Origins, the Toon Collection, but I decided to join it 3 or 4 waves in, so I didn't actually have the OG He-Man and Skeletor. I had every other character bar these two, so now it's actually a proper He-Man and a Masters of the Universe collection because I have the 2 main characters, which is obviously quite cool. But as this is a Transformers show, I did get some Transformers. Once again, proving that I'm not a Legends collector. New Age Starscream came yesterday. I know. I think I'm in. Have you got
any of the Seekers yet?
No.
They're amazing. They are some of New Age's best work.
He is my first, but obviously if I like him, then I'm going to have to get Thundercracker and Skywarp, and I think I'm going to have to get all of the other comic coloured New Age stuff because I'm a sucker and I've started on that road. However, the one I was looking forward to most, Planet X, re-released Cactus, which is their IDW Grimlock, and I was very excited, and as soon as they reissued it, I purchased it, and he is beautiful, genuinely beautiful. I've heard the transformation is a little bit emotionally damaging, so I haven't transformed him yet, so I will do it. I'm off next week, so I will be having a mess about with him, but I really enjoyed some, and a bit's already fallen off.
Breaking him.
But it's not X-Transbots. Good evening, X-Transbots.
There's something about the fact that you have to wait until you have a week off before you can do it.
Yeah. No,
he needs the whole week. We already know this. He could have given him a week for that cliff jumper, and he'd still be now.
Why do you need to be? Yeah. Anyway, that's all my pickups ruined by Andy Ride.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Thanks ever so much. And that's all I've got this week. I say all I've got. Got loads this week.
Yeah, you did. But lovely. And happy birthday. And good luck Sunday, because Pete, Sunday, how much have you raised so far for Mary's Mills? Is it 1.6k, 1.5k?
Yeah, so we started off with the intention of it being 1,310 because it's 13.1 miles, but we hit that target weeks ago and it's just continued to grow and grow and grow, and we're on £1,604 as of right now, and that's not even including any of the merchandise profits or anything. So we wanted to do 1,300 all in, but I think we're going to smash it. And I just thank you so much to everybody.
Didn't you say you'd be wearing something that have you got to your?
No, I said if we raised £50,000, I would do.
It was your target. You said the target. You said you.
Yeah.
It was too late now because it's running on Sunday.
If anybody can get a Cheetor costume to Pete by Sunday morning, that'd be great. Especially in the 24-degree heat that's expected for.
Yeah. No, that's it. The 30 miles doesn't stress me out at all.
We could do a class action suit against Pete for not keeping his promise.
Just put some leopard skin pants on and run in them. You'll be fine. Keep you cool.
Thank you to everyone that's offered messages of support. However much you've been able to, donate, it's just, overwhelmed, and so very grateful. We are going to feed a lot of kids.
Not actually us. Like we'll give the money to Mary's Mills.
Yeah, we'll give the money.
Don't
to
worry.
They'll feed.
We don't.
I'm going to finish the rest of the Thundercat Super 7 line.
And Pete, you've got some t-shirt love to show us, haven't you? I think.
Oh yes. This is a 1 of 1 competition singlet for Transformers: The Show for the summer season 2025. Because I'm only wearing it once, and that'll be the end of it. So Emma has fantastically done. She's got a cricket machine, so we printed a vest and. Never having a day off. Never having a day off. You watch the sub levels grow through the streets of Bracknell.
Always on the grind. Come watch us on YouTube, everyone.
Yeah. I'm the geezer that died on Sunday.
Don't say that.
I'm joking. It'll be Monday at least, won't it? Let's be honest. And that's it. And yeah. Just thank you again. Just thank you again. Everyone has been so generous. The charity's lucky. We're lucky. I'm lucky. Just thanks again.
Pete, well done. Great effort. Right. It's time
if
for
anyone
foreplay.
still wants to contribute to send some money your way, have we got the links in the show?
We'll add the link. We'll add the link in the show. Thank you. Yeah, we'll add the link in the show. And yeah, if you can, great. Look, we know we're in a climate where there are a lot of charities doing a lot of good work, and disposable income isn't readily available as it was. So the fact that people have supported as much as they have, truly grateful.
If you know, but we know there are people with a little bit of extra cash. You may have recently been promoted into a better position. Maybe you've had. You work in the Vatican, you're quite generous. Reach out to us. We'll entertain any larger donations. Right, let's do foreplay.
Lynn, these are sex people.
What do you mean?
They're sex swappers. Lynn, this is DEFCON 1. Look. Look. Don't make the same noise as them. Don't think you want to join in.
Lots of people want to bid for your shirt afterwards when it's soaked in your sweat. So.
Unwashed.
So you might make
straight off in an envelope.
Sealed. Top 5 headmasters tonight. So top 5 headmasters. Let's go. So Andy, do you want to kick us off? Your favourite headmaster?
Candy, if you can just share.
Once again.
Franco Shona. I went with the first ever headmaster I got as a child, and that is, of course, Highbrow. And a rare Autobot for me. I don't often go for Autobots, but Highbrow was the first headmaster toy I remember getting as a kid. And I loved him. And in my head, he was more important than he probably was. But I feel there was reasons behind that. So obviously he was in the Rebirth, but in the Rebirth, he's kind of like a stuffy, kind of up himself character.
He's like the number 2 guy in Rebirth. As far as like the personality rankings go in Rebirth, he's the one under Brainstorm. There's Brainstorm, and then he's the one that's got he's stuffying up himself and uses big words. Then there's the angry one and the other one.
Yeah, it's like the other one. Yeah, Big Crypto. But despite that, I still liked it. But you see, my influence wasn't as much the Rebirth as much as I love that. It was the fact that I saw him in the UK comics. And this cover is a big part of the reason why, in my mind, Highbrow was the leader of the Autobot Headmasters. Because when I saw this cover, he's at the front. And he was the focus of a couple of stories back then that kind of made it feel like he's the most important one. He must be the leader of them, other than obviously, kind of Fortress Maximus and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, the other guys didn't have any stories, did they? He was the only one got any kind of story in the comics. I couldn't really remember anything.
I mean, Styler had that text story in one of the annuals.
I'm not
thinking of anything for Brainstorm or Hardhead offhand. But Highbrow had that story in that issue of the Worlds Apart here. But then there was All in the Mines in the annual as well, which was where I was exposed to the character.
Yes, and I have that. I've got the annual down there.
Sorry, not to preempt.
No, I wasn't. I picked this one because the All in the Mines one, I think we've shown pictures from that before, and it's quite iconic. At least in my mind, it is that whole story of him. And this kind of, I can't remember if this was before that or after it. I think it was before. But what I loved about this story was just the fact that they convinced him, Galt, that him and Highbrow couldn't work as a team. They were too different and everything. And Chrome Dome, as you can see in the pictures, can convince them, nope, it's our differences that make us stronger and it makes us a better team. And then finally, Highbrow, pretty much on his own, defeats Scorponok, which it was like, right, that's it now. He is the best Autobot headmaster and will be forever. And that's the Highbrow I think of. I don't really think of the one from the cartoon. I know before people start going on at me and saying, oh, he's in the Japanese Headmasters cartoon as well. I didn't see that as a kid. I never saw the Headmasters.
He's very much the other one in the Headmasters
exactly.
cartoon.
Yeah. Doesn't do much, really. He's there, but
He gets one episode where he hangs out with that jungle girl. That's like it. He's the one I was going to say he's
not going to inspire me.
Sweet spot, but he's not.
He's not going to inspire me from that. So yeah, and then I had the G1 toy. This isn't my G1 toy. This is a picture from Transformers Universe, which is a great website if you want to go and look at old photographs of the old toys and reviews and things like that. Now, my original Highbrow is one of the few G1 toys that disappeared, and I don't know where it went, and I've never recovered it. But I did manage to get a replacement Highbrow many years ago. Incomplete. I still, at some point, need to get the acid pellet rifles. I think that's what they were that kind of come with it, just to complete him. But I tend to not want to pay £20 or £30 a rifle on eBay. So one day I'll complete him, I'm sure. But I just love him. I remember the Titans Return version, which I also loved. I bought he was the first when the retro Headmasters were released as that little experiment by Hasbro to say, well, people buy these in the old packaging. First one that the pre-order went in for. Hell yes, I'm having him. I just love him. And then you might be asking yourself, why is Brainstorm there? And that's just because I do want to give a special honorary mention to Brainstorm. I always kind of liked him as a kid, but he was just a bit like nerdy and kind of like the science boy. But then you read the IDW comics in particular, and I loved the way they wrote him in that. I loved the twist that you got with him. And for a long time on Twitter, I had the panel where he says I could do whatever the hell I want when he stood in Swerve's bar. That was just my I don't know why, it's not really true. I can't do whatever the hell I want, but I liked it, so I put it on there as my Twitter profile picture. So a special shout out for Brainstorm as well. So if anybody else has chosen Brainstorm, I won't say any more because I don't want to step on anyone else's toe. But yes, my choice is Highbrow.
Great choice. Such a cool bloody alt mode. And yeah, the Titans Return one was amazing. Pete, who's your favourite Headmaster ever?
I think I would have to go with Fort Maximus. A great leader. Sorry, it's probably uncomfortable where I'm holding you, isn't it? Let's put him down. I haven't even taken him for dinner first. But no, for me, Fortress Maximus, a character that's been reinvented a couple of times, both in the G1 comics, the cartoon, and again with IDW. One of the main things, he was a pacifist at one time. And he was the first Transformer that we had a headmaster that made his head for a headmaster, which I thought was quality. And I'm surprised they didn't do the same with Scorponok. But with him being the city bot and stuff, but they didn't. It was really cool that the leader, Spike was the headmaster for Cerebro, who went on Cerebros, who went on to be for Fort Max. But I just think is the two comparisons, because the first I came across Fort Max was on the Rebirth, and then I read the comics, and you've got the same character but two very different origins, and I think I like that, this gentle giant that tried to escape the war but ended up being potentially one of the most powerful forces within it. So Fort Max for me, I think he's a quality toy as well. Obviously, Never had the G1 version, but when the Titans Return one was available, just such a cool playset, and what a toy should be. You know, you could incorporate him with so many of the other great Titans Return bots and tell stories galore. So for me, Fort Max.
Great choice, sir. Chris, Headmasters.
Tough pick, honestly. I really, whenever you're asked your favorite Headmaster, your mind does automatically go to the 87 guys, doesn't it? Like the original crowd. And when the Headmasters DVD, when the Japanese cartoon came out on DVD 20 years ago now, that was, which was just before it became impossible to buy anything for cheap on eBay. I went out and I got all the 4 original Autobot Headmasters on eBay. So I was quite enamored with them at the time. But I only picked I only got one Decepticon, and that was Mindwipe, who because he was in that story I mentioned, the All in the Mind story from the annual, he really stuck in my memory, that great Will Simpson art of him hypnotizing Highbrow with all the eyes, the circles coming out of his eyes, and he's the one with the personality, because Weird Wolf and Skullcruncher, I don't know, would tell me. I defy you to tell me what their personalities are now, other than you might know that Weird Wolf talks like Yoda, but Mindwipe had a personality and a thing that he did, which made him quite memorable. But I also had, I have a great soft spot for the, not really any of the second year guys. Nightbeat, obviously, from the Marvel comic, but you don't like Nightbeat because he's a Headmaster, do you? That's not, you don't think that's any fondness one has for Nightbeat has nothing to do with his being a Headmaster, or being part of that sales push. But I have a great fondness for the Master Force Decepticon Pretenders, because I got it at the same time when I was getting the Autobot guys, I got them as well. Fangry, Squeeze Play, and Horrible, or Wilder, Cancer, and Bullhorn. I have a fondness for all of them. But I think the answer, I hadn't thought about this, and it's a very obvious answer, but I mean, it's really got to be the big boy, doesn't it?
Nice.
I had the original Scorponok as a kid. I got it for Christmas '87, and I remember destroying that box to get in at that toy. I tore it fully open to the tusk of my mother as she was sitting watching me do it. And it's like, go slowly now, don't. Oh, well, you might have wanted to. Nope, didn't. No. He was the biggest Transformer that I ever owned when I was a kid. I still vividly remember the searing loss of, for some godforsaken reason, deciding to take Lord Zarak into school one day and losing him.
Oh,
I know. What was I thinking? And obviously, he had the great role in the comic under Simon Furman as well, which was one of the few Marvel comic stories to try and examine the full extent of what Headmaster bonding meant, and what it meant for this robot and this human to be the same person, these two conflicting emotions and impulses, and his tremendous death scene in the 75th issue as well, which, it's fun. I can't remember if I read that issue live as it happened at the time. I feel like I did, but what's really burned into my mind is I had the 1994, I want to say it was, summer special, which collected the Carnivac Earthrise strips. Earth Force strips in color. And for some reason, the cover of that special was the cover of, it was just a reused cover, but it was the cover art that was created for the UK comic of Optimus Prime cradling Scorponok's dead body from the Unicron issue. So that is an image in my mind that is just permanently associated with the character. As for some reason, I just had that special. I read that special a lot, cover to cover. So maybe a bit of an obvious choice, but I think it has to be Scorponok.
Great choice.
Oh, he's good in Headmasters too.
He's one of the ones as a kid where other kids had it, and it was just the biggest amount of jealousy. I thought Metroplex was so cool, and then I remember seeing my first Scorponok. Oh, Jamie, what did you go for, sir?
If you could share the screen, if I had to choose a headmaster from the comics, I would always go with Fortress Maximus. He had cool stories. He was a central character quite a lot of times, and was always heroic and noble. You know, as Pete puts it, you know, a gentle giant who didn't really want to be there. Superb. You know, the last Autobot on Earth, I think he self-declared himself at one point, and you know, he had unfortunate they had to deal with Galvatron, which he managed to defeat and fall into a frozen lake. However, when it came to Generation 2, the comics, Fortress Maximus, who'd been, you know, a fantastic warrior throughout, especially when you think about Time Wars or the Underbase Sega, met his match with the sort of evil genius that is Megatron. And I think to stop Megatron from obtaining the Ark, Fortress Maximus and Spike, his binary partner at that time. And I think Melshade was mentioning something about in the comics, in when they actually transformed in the comics, they broke bones and stuff and organs moved. I don't know if that was true in the comics or was it in the cartoon.
It's implied, but it's not,
and,
they don't be like spelling it out in the narration, but
yeah, because I used to want to be a headmaster, but I've now changed that stance and have no interest in that at all anymore, you know. But from the comic standpoint, I would be Fortress Maximus, even though in the Generation 2 comic, I think him and Spike sacrificed themselves to destroy the Ark, even though it was futile, really, because, you know, they didn't really stop Megatron. But I think the memory of the nobility of Fortress Maximus and what a heroic pure warrior he was, kind of like his counterpart Scorponauts became in the end, I think helped Optimus Prime defeat another enemy, which was the Swarm. So, you know, maybe a good send-off, but, you know, a bit sad. So maybe, you know, I'll ignore Generation 2 and always think of Fortress Maximus from Generation 1 comics from Marvel. However, from the animation, my favorite is got to be RC. And RC, and I've got the toy there. Yes, I don't know. I just love the toy. I love the character in the Rebirth. I think it was a redemption arc because in the cartoon, in Transformers the movie, I don't think she was that caring towards Daniel. I always remember in the Junkion scene in the Planet Junk, Daniel's like running and he's in this sort of exo suit gear, and all the other Transformers are running away. And I think, you know, they're shouting at him who's Deceptor saying to him, transform, and then they just leave him. And then you see Daniel running by himself. Then 2 Decepticons appear out of nowhere, and poor Daniel still hasn't learned how to transform. And like RC's gone, they've just left this like 10-year-old kid by themselves to go against Decepticon warriors. But by the Rebirth, and I'm just special note, Hot Rod wouldn't have done that. If Hot Rod was on that planet with Daniel, Hot Rod would have stuck with Daniel. You saw Hot Rod when he, you know, destroyed the Ark, you know, destroyed the shuttle with the Decepticons in Transformers the movie, just making sure Ironhide, Ratchet, and Ron and Prowl were taken out so he could make his move on Optimus Prime, you know, without any danger. You saw him how he went to protect Daniel, so I thought that was quite good. But RC, no, she didn't do that. But the Rebirth, it was a kind of a switch here. She started to care for Daniel a lot more and protect Daniel. And, you know, Daniel flung himself, I think it was against Snapdragon, who had RC at the time, and Snapdragon tossed Daniel aside, because let's face it, you're a 10-year-old kid, Daniel. There's not much you can do against a robotic dinosaur, Godzilla-type monster thing. So, you know, to save Daniel, who could have been paralyzed, he became a sort of headmaster. And I hope in the cartoon it didn't involve his bones getting broken in his organs, because that's going to be horrific, isn't it? But,
already broken.
Yeah, because could you imagine it, for you like this? The robot goes into robot mode, and you're like, "Oh God!" And then you have to be his head. It transforms into vehicle mode, and you're like, "Oh God!" You know, you'd be like, "Just stay in one mode. I don't care. You're not transforming." You know, that's what I'd be like anyway. But yes, it would be RC. You know, started to care. It was a bit of a redemption arc, and it was good to see that sort of big sister, you know, younger brother sort of bond kind of form. between them. And it was basically the last of, well, the Rebirth was part 1, part 2, part 3. We never really got that sort of promised season 4, which I thought would have came as a kid. But yes, RC for the animation and Fortress Maximus for the comic.
And I was saying that Titans Return RC, where she had a new mold, but I really liked. I remember having that mold. Was it an exclusive? It was something exclusive.
It was hard to
It was
pick up.
a Blur or Brainstorm mold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the Blur mold, but you had to get it. Was it a Takara version or?
No, it was like a box set, so it came with a Scoponix head.
Yeah.
It came with
That's
a,
it. Yeah.
Store exclusive, I think.
Something.
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
hard to get over here. I'm not sure how difficult it was to get in the US.
It was kicking around in Toys R Us over here, or I might be fully imagining that.
It was. I really liked it as a Blur mold. It was different. It was nice not to like. It's
I
brilliant
loved
they
that
have-
mold. I thought that
Yeah.
was
What a mold.
yeah,
What a
this is
mold.
one of my favourite toys. It really is.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
great as RC. I thought. Cool. Right, I'll go next. So, I went for. I went for Weird Dwarf. Because I bought him last week. So fans toys. I thought when we said do like our favorite Headmaster, I thought, I probably haven't got as many Transformers as some of you, but I've got like over 100, and I did think, I wonder what Headmaster I'll grab from the collection. I haven't got that many actually. So I did pick up Weird Dwarf, fans toys Weird Dwarf last week. I've always loved Weird Dwarf. I didn't have him as a kid. When I got the Titans Return one, it was one of my first Titan Returns figures I purchased, and I loved him. I loved him both modes. I loved his playability. I loved you could kind of, if you'd done it very carefully, you could balance his gun on his shoulder for some sort of gun cannon. He was just all round general good. And the colours of Weird Dwarf are
Lovely
just,
colors. Very, very like non-standard colors for a Decepticon.
yeah, they're almost like colours which don't complement each other, but they've just put them together anyway, and just brilliant. I've just
That
said to myself,
vaguely greenish shade of blue.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah. So yeah, I loved him. So I put him. I guess as a kid, there was one toy which was not only one of my favorite Headmasters, one of my favorite toys as a kid, and that was Ape Face. I loved Ape Face as a kid, and I used to pretend he was Starscream. I used to put his 2 shoulder things up, which I used to pretend were his thrusters. But yeah, I absolutely loved Ape Face as a kid. Had him for years, and even when I was like 13, 14, I remember taking him apart. And painting him so when I was into Warhammer, making him all crisp and white again. And yeah, just always the Ape Face was probably the one from when I was a kid. You just don't see much of him. Like as a kid, I never saw much of him in any sort of media, much of the any of the comics I read, any of the shows I watched. He wasn't really in it as much what I saw as a kid. And you're always looking out for that favorite toy that you've played with. So I guess that's why I probably cosplayed him as Starscream when I was a kid. But yeah, be Ape Face. And then
One day, Paul, I'm going to have to get G1 Weird Wolf because that was my favourite Headmaster toy. I just loved the robotic wolf. And if anything, I was kind of disappointed in the comic, Marvel G1 comic cartoon, comic version because it made it look more organic wolf-like rather than that robotic, which you saw in the adventure books, which I thought, obviously copied the mode from the toy directly. And I just loved that. And I wish the cartoon was like the toy as well. It's the one time where I think the toy kicked ass over the actual, representation in the cartoon and the comic.
Oh, 100%. And just that, I just loved that little red canopy he had where it would flip up on the G1 toy and you see him that he almost drives a mechanic wolf. That nothing gets cooler. And actually the fans toy one does have that. So when you transform it, obviously you need to book 2 to 3 weeks off work to get the transformation done. But once you do, it does have the red canopy, so you can then relive that section of
His
it.
Titans Return figure was a nice one as well. It had a great sort of exaggerated stylization.
Oh,
Just shame about the canopy on the back.
Yeah, that's those.
Oh,
what made me
bacon.
think it was the self-destructing canopy. I'm kind of hoping that Carnivac's not going to have that problem when he comes out later this year.
Buy 2. That's what I did. I just buy 2.
I mean,
I
mine is still attached. It has cracked a bit, but it's still attached. It's not broken off.
I like the fact that G1 Skull Cruncher, you piloted it by sitting inside Skull Cruncher's mouth, basically. Perfectly safe in there, I'm sure.
Another lovely looking toy.
Uh,
The Decepticon Headmasters from '87, they had style.
Mm.
They did.
You know, they were nice looking guys.
And were they
A lot
Hasbro
of the
made
ca-
rather? So they were Hasbro made rather than Takara made.
Well, it's all co-productions back then.
Well,
I mean, all the characters from the Rebirth were fantastic. I really loved them all, especially the Photobots, which just don't seem to get any of them.
cool. Okay, I think that's everyone, isn't it? So, Pete, are we ready for a bit of socials?
Yes, sir.
What intro should I play for socials this week?
Oh, do the good one.
No. Do the good one.
My Amish friends call me Lorna. I'm coming out of the fauna. If my cat died, I would mourn her. It's time for Social Corner.
Huh.
That was the good
It goes
one.
on. It goes on for about 8
It
hours.
carries on. Yeah.
I trimmed off 30 minutes then. Pete, take us through a tour of the internet, of the World Wide Web.
Up first on Instagram, TF Toys with what is Studio Series Transformers 1 Bumblebee.
Awesome photo, isn't it? I just love
Yeah.
the poses. He always does amazing poses, this guy. And then he also does other photos to show how he did the poses, like he uses stands, and he goes into detail, does a couple of slides about what stands he uses, and he'll go on to tell you what software he uses to remove the stands or how he does it. So it breaks it down to be app friendly and also PC friendly as well.
Exceptional toy. Makes me want to pick it up because Prime and Megatron weren't great on the Studio Series line. Fusigi with Legacy Slipstream, another quality photo. So much character in the face.
His stuff, but every time I see his name, I just want to eat spaghetti bolognese. It's just so tricky, and I've complained to him. I've talked to him about this. I'm about, would you be willing to change your name? But he's not. So a bit selfish, but yeah, awesome toy photographer. Really helpful, really nice guy. Colors immense.
Inconsiderate Prime with
The
the
soft lighting on that.
masterpieces. The masterpieces we never knew we wanted or needed. Trains.
Basically, a sex photo, isn't it? That really in Transformers world, that's just amazing.
A lot of character in the face, but I do not want to have masterpiece trains.
These aren't the masterpiece figures, though, right?
Moon Studios, third party.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Are
they're
they?
the third ones, yeah. Is it Moon Studios, did you say?
Moon Studios, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a lovely photo, but no photo could make the official masterpiece ones look quite as nice as that.
He's right.
Tyan 75 bots with D16 with his hero Megatron is quality photo, and such. We've all waxed lyrical about how great Megatronus is, but this photo gives him so much life, makes it quite cool actually. Yeah,
It's got Luke Skywalker and Yoda vibes.
Do you know, that's exactly that. It reminds me of that kind of, yeah.
Friend of the show, Sam Formers with the Blockies exclusive. Was it classic? It was a classic class, wasn't it?
Classic class.
Yeah.
Or was it the action?
This was released in Hasbro Pulse. So I picked this one up. So Sam must have got this early because I thought I haven't had mine yet. So I checked with Hasbro Pulse. They said, "Oh, yeah, not sending it yet." I'll let you know when it
You've
comes
got
out.
it from Battersea Transformer Shop. That's where they were selling it.
Oh, that
Yeah.
makes 100% more sense.
So I'll be posting about maybe hopefully the 10th or 15th of May. He got it directly from the United States. One of his friends picked it up. And so I think he saved some money because he was able to pick it up when he went over there.
It's nice.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
very good. Shaygal, Shaygal, Shay Art on Blue Sky, perhaps. Lugnut from Animated. Just exceptionally talented. Look at the detail.
Oh, that's a very nice.
You could do that. The reason I put it in, you could take that design, Hasbro, sorry. You could take that design and give us a new lug nut, because we need a new lug nut, and in an animated colours preferably. It's been too long since we've had a quality lug nut figure, and that's beautiful. Lovely artwork.
I thought for a second, Andy was suggesting I could draw that, and I was about to correct you that I could not.
Oh, I do wish I could draw that. That would be lovely. If I could draw, that would be even better.
Exceptionally talented individual. Friend of the show, Mellow Shade, with Megatronus with Toy Hacks repro labels that adds a whole different dynamic. And I wasn't going to get the Toy Hacks labels, but as a result of seeing Lee's photo, I am going to be getting it. Look at the detail it gives it. It's just something else. It just adds so much more character to it, I think.
I'm going to be controversial and say that it looks nice, but I think it makes it look a bit too busy, personally. I'm happy to keep in mind as it is. But
you know
I'm
what,
sure
Andy?
other people like it.
Thank you for opening the negative gate. I'm really happy.
Oh no, I'm not. It's not a criticism. It's just an observation of my personal preference.
My observation would be, if I got the same stickers, they would look nothing like that by the time I was finished.
I often think I see a lot of these add-on sticker kits, and I do often have the same thought. I feel like they make them too busy. But sure, that's only if you put them all on. You don't know, there's no law telling coming in your house, putting a gun to your head and saying you have to put all of them on. Just put on the one you want.
Exactly. You don't have to put them all on, do you?
There you go. Yeah, Mellow Shade. Exactly the same thing.
Hey, see? Mellow Shade.
I think the label set for Studio Series Swoop makes it look, that's an example to your guys' points in the fact that you make it look ridiculously busy and it does not add anything to the character whatsoever. I just look at that. He obviously takes great photos. But it just makes me want to do it. Yeah, definitely makes me want to do it.
Do you think if the other Toy Hacks would do nicotine patches, so just us like Transformer fans, that'd be quite cool, I would have thought.
I mean, they'd be branching out, but it's not impossible. Dave Wayne made a good point there, and I'm very similar. He said he's a purist in terms of keeping the figure how it comes, and so am I. I find it very difficult. Even add-on kits, I find it very difficult to bring myself to change the figure.
Well, add-on kits, I tend to find them to be a lot similar to what I've just said about stickers. It's like like a lot of them will include something that maybe does improve the figure in some small way, but then it also comes with a bunch of other stuff that you just don't want or need at all. And that's not the same as not applying a bunch of stickers, because you've really paid for all that physical plastic that's come in that box, and it feels different to not just simply choosing to not apply a few stickers.
I've got a dilemma. I've got Rodimus Prime, and I got the add-on, the new head, which gives him that younger, fresher look. Yeah. And I keep looking at it, and it looks awesome. I've seen the photos. My one's really good. But then I think I don't want to touch that toy because I really like it in its original mode, even though I prefer the new head. I don't want to butcher it. And
I wouldn't be surprised at all if, like, next year with the Studio Series 86, they re-release that Rodimus with a different head and a more cartoon-accurate paint job.
Or you could just buy two, Jamie.
I've got to, because I've got one.
Buy three.
That's what I'm currently having to do. I'm going to have to look for it, because, get a third one now, even if it's just the robot mode, just to take the head off. It's because in his transformation mode, when you put him into his...
you justify it however you want to.
Sure. It can break. The tailor can break things, so, I'm not going to risk that.
Right, what's the plastic crack?
With the DX9 Sideswipe, we know he's an up-and-coming photographer. He's still finding his feet, but keep at it, mate.
Do you know the screen?
Another exceptional photo.
The screen doesn't do this justice, but the red is really spot on if you look at it on your devices. It's really good because it's really hard taking a photo with so much red because, red sometimes can be oversaturated, the detail can get lost. But on your device, this picture is amazing. Really good.
Oh, yeah, I love this. Sorry. I'm going to say, Copperbot shots. He posted this across his social. This happy anniversary to Marvel's The Transformers #1. And if you understand that, if you're old like us and you understand that reference, it just really tickles me. That's why I stuck it in there. So if you're watching Copperbot shots, well played, sir. That's excellent.
Just a very fun photo. Gavin Spence, again, exceptional artwork. That man and his digital paintbrush.
I love the little line as well. I'm getting closer to nailing the spirit of the fracture. You're nailing it, Gav. So close.
What I always especially love about anything Gav draws is that you never know what it is he's going to draw next. Because sometimes he'll do a perfectly normal drawing of a normal Transformers character, and then who was it? There was some character he drew a picture of recently where it was, just a rando, a complete 87 or 88 rando. I've already forgotten what character it was, and it was like, well, you don't see a lot of fan art of those lovely days. And then other days it's Optimus Prime with a banana gun. Sure, why not? You never know what's next. I always like seeing it.
Gajira Prime.
It's that picture there.
Yeah.
I love his Japanese setups he does. They look so good.
Graham Thompson, I love a dad joke.
Oi.
And this chuckled. This made me chuckle. And there should be another one. All the tanks. All the Autobot tanks.
Asking the important questions.
Yes. It's I was going to answer it. But you pick your favourite tank. We're not here to tell you what your
fact is, how many do you have? We know people. That's going to take them a while to figure out, to actually sit and count them all. I'm talking about you. Jamie, get on it. How many tanks have you got?
Count the duplicates and triplicates I bought because there's triple changers out there.
Yeah, chuck them in there too. We'll come back to you in about an hour.
And that's social corner.
Very good, Pete. Very good. Thank you so much. Right, we'll finish off now. It's discussion. So, Chris, we've got some questions for you, if that's right. They've already posted them on the Transformers The Show page. But if you have got any questions, you want to ask them in the live chat, go ahead. I'll try and get to them as well. But yeah, it's time for discussion.
We now return to the Transformers.
Being the super organised individual I am, my battery's on 4%. I've got the questions here. It's all right though. It's all right. I've got my work phone here. I've got my work phone here. If it runs out of battery, I'll go to. They're on Facebook, so I can go to my work phone. So that's fine. So, first question, if that's all right. And well, firstly, thanks again for coming back on the show.
Yeah,
I think we're talking about TF UK Con. So you're going to be with us next week in Birmingham at the Cobden Hotel.
Yeah.
Are you coming there Friday? Or was it Saturday, George?
Yes, I'll be in on Friday. I think I should be. I'm coming in a little later on Friday than I would have liked, but there was no earlier. Well, it was the time of the evening I'm coming in at, or 7 o'clock in the morning. So it had to be the evening. But I will not miss you guys' show on the Friday night. By all appearances, I should be in on time for that. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. It should be a good weekend. We've got loads going on. And then you're doing a bit on what? Do you want to take us through what you're doing on the Saturday?
Well, I don't know if it's been announced, so I don't know how much I want to say, because I only know personally so much myself. I've been kept in the dark for a lot of it, and I've only got a sort of a hint as to what it'll involve very recently. So, but it sounds like people are going to be given their opportunity to pit their wits against me.
Oh, that sounds good. Well, I won't spoil it. Because Graham will kill us off, so we'll leave it there. The mystery will be revealed on Saturday if you're coming. So, first question then. So Nathan Montgomery said, Is there a potential for a basics on unofficial third-party transformers? He appreciates they're not official, but they're such a big part of the community now. It would be cool for people starting out, like what the different scales are.
See, it's a fair question, and I wouldn't say that it's outside the scope of the series, but I couldn't do it because I don't follow third party. I don't know. And I think at this point there's too much of it to learn. No,
you're a chunkster. Yeah. Chunkster.
It's just outside my
sounds like an
my sphere of knowledge. I just couldn't do it.
I was just thinking that I meant in Scotland.
I appreciate that, Chris, because I think it's true, particularly me and Jamie, that like if somebody said, "Oh, tell us all about third party," I can tell you a bit now.
Yeah, I could tell. Like it used to be all about masterpieces. Now it's all about legends.
Yeah, exactly.
I can name you like 2 or 3 groups that are doing it now, and probably I could probably know the names of more groups that were doing it 20 years ago that have gone defunct than I do about ones who are currently doing it now. You know. People do often ask, like, you know, why I don't. Not so often anymore. I think people understand the measure of the thing, but sometimes people do ask, you know, why I don't talk about third-party versions of toys or of characters in individual character episodes. And I always say, depending on how saucy I'm feeling when I'm replying to them, I might say that it's the same thing as asking me why I don't describe a popular fanfic in the character thing, because they're not official, you know. But I will if ever something unofficial does wind up feeding back into and informing the official stuff, I'll describe it. Like Hotshot's video talks about the Jam comic, or I can't think of another example, but I'm sure there have been others. People wondered if I would, you know, include Ramjet liking toast in the Ramjet video that I just did. Didn't, because it hasn't fed back into anything official. But and yeah, sure, you know, sometimes you do get those third-party toys whose designs wind up influencing things like mobile games and stuff like that. But those instances are very rarely important enough to warrant a mention anyway. So, you know, their use in it, you know, it's like, oh, Prowl was in a mobile game. Let me just check outside and see if the sky is blue. You know, it's some of these things do not need mentioning when you're only covering the basics.
No, it's cool. No, I understand that. Lee Hancock had a question. He said that we all know how much research you do for every episode of the basics, but which Transformers fact really blew your mind?
It's a great question.
I mean, I'm trying to think of an example of a fact that I didn't know and found while I was researching, you know, because I do research, but a lot of how the episodes are built, they start out with me writing down like a bullet pointed lists of stuff off the top of my head of what I know needs to be in this. And then, only then, I'll go to something like the wiki and just do a skim over and see if there's anything I forgot, you know, any appearances in something like, you know, sometimes it'll be a case of, well, I know this character was in Dreamwave somewhere or in IDW somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, so I'll use the wiki to check what issues they were in. Then I'll go and get the issues and read the actual issues to see if they were in that. I'm trying to think of a factoid that I simply didn't know until I read it and then said, well, I have to put that in. I'm reminded of I wouldn't say it was mind-blowing, but I'm reminded of when I did the Mind Wipe episode Halloween before last it was, and I came upon this fact in on the TF Wiki article for his animated incarnation that said the design was based on this old American TV personality named Corla Pandit, wore a turban. And I thought, well, I've never heard that before, but this is unsighted. So I'm not inclined, you know, I'm not inclined to include anything that's unsighted unless I already knew it as a piece of conventional wisdom already. But I went through the edit history and saw who added it and sent a DM to I knew the editor who added it, so I sent a DM to the editor and said, where are you getting this from? And it was in personal conversation with Derek Wyatt. And I'm like, okay, well, I know you and I trust you enough to to trust you on that. So I put it in the video, you know. So that's an example of a fact I didn't know, but then did go out of my way to verify was accurate before I put it in there. I'm sure there are some other examples of facts that I didn't know. Like I'm because I'm going to be at TFUKCon next week. Surprise, spoilers, whatever. Next week it'll just be a compilation episode that'll be uploaded instead of a full new episode. But I'm doing a bit of remastering to a couple of old episodes, adding a couple of new pieces of information into them, series that have come out since, you know, just a couple of little changes. There's something morally I feel like I can't just dump a compilation of old episodes whenever there's more information that could be put into it to bring it up to date. So I'm doing that. And so one of the episodes that's going in this compilation is the one about transformation. And in that, I say that the first transforming toy was the 1975 figure Brave Rydeen. And yes, that's the first manually converting vehicle to robot toy. But I found from I remember from conversation in the past and from reading about it on the wiki that no, there is a transforming toy that technically predates that. So that's in there. So that's a new piece of information I learned, which is, you know, quite a big piece of transforming toy history that I overlooked the first time, and I've now added into this new version. So you'll see that next Saturday.
Very good. Right. Next question is Ken Gree said he watches you all the time in America. So much knowledge, and thank you for what you do. He said, how do you feel about the IDW universe?
I love the IDW universe. It has its ups and downs, but what comic storyline that runs for 13 years doesn't have its ups and downs, you know? I was a big fan of it when it started. I loved what Simon Furman was doing with the sorry, see that comment from Gav there. I loved what Furman was doing at the start, and I wasn't a huge fan of All Hail Megatron or what Mike Costa did, but I thought that More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise were the biggest breath of fresh air in Transformers comics possibly ever, honestly, you know, since they were the breeze that finally blew away the artistic qualities of the comics that were still clinging on to the Dreamwave era. I was a huge Robots in Disguise and just General John Barber defender when that tended to fall by the wayside as the other book in the face of all the critical press and love that More Than Meets the Eye got. And I enjoyed the Hasbroverse stuff that they did in the third year. Like, I think most of it worked. Some of it didn't, Visionaries, but I think most of it did work, and I really enjoyed reading it. And I was a big fan of the 2019 stuff as well. It was a very slow burn, and it wasn't really well suited to monthly comics. So you could tell it was the work of a novelist. But I think, like, as a complete piece of work, now that it has a start and an end, I think it holds up really well. And it's not common, but it's not uncommon that people in the comments will accuse me of having an IDW bias when in my videos, because I'll say something like, most notably or most prominently or most significantly, when I'm sorry, that just was that character's most prominent, most significant appearance throughout the 2010s or whatever, or in the whole of the 21st century media. No, big defender of it. Well, defender. It's funny. It feels like almost like you need to people talk about IDW now that it's over. Like, you almost feel like you're a defender of it if you were a fan of it. But
it's weird.
And it doesn't need defending.
No, not at all. I don't know if it's are you allowed to like G1 and IDW? You're allowed to like G1 and absolutely everything. You're allowed to like even Beast Wars Pete and any other thing. It's absolutely fine. Right, I've switched over to my work phone, which I have to sort of hold at this distance because it's quite small. I have to read the question
Nokia, isn't it?
And, just before you read the question, obviously, to the point, once More Than Meets the Eye and RID started, like, I loved them so much that I took it upon myself to be the guy who wrote the TF Wiki articles for every new issue. And, like, barring a few issues that maybe came out digital first and I wasn't able to get them, every IDW comic from More Than Meets the Eye and RID #1 through to the end of Unicron, I wrote that article on TF Wiki for each issue every week.
I didn't know that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Because I worked in a comic shop, so I was able to get the issues a little early, so I could always have the articles written up and ready to go first thing on Wednesday when the comics came out.
Paul, you travel a lot and you've got a small burner phone. Are you an assassin?
Well, he wouldn't tell us if he was, would he? Not on camera.
We all believed the bingo story.
Yeah, I leave a trail of dead behind me. Right, so this person's from a young guy called Liam from Nottingham. Toy box soapbox. He says Dreamwave.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him, mate. Yeah.
Dreamwave gave
Sounds
us
like a made-up name.
Gave us Ironhide with the windscreen face. Were they the comics company we needed, but not the one we deserved?
Oh, I think there may be more of the comics company we deserved at the time, but not the one we needed. No, I mean, the thing I always say about Dreamwave is that Dreamwave happened at exactly the right time. You know, talking about deserving or needing. Actually, it probably to say that they are the comics company that Transformers as a brand needed at the time is probably completely accurate. They landed at the perfect time to like capitalize on the fact that anime was really, really cool at that moment in time, and that 80s kids properties were having their first big nostalgic resurgence, and they just like pounced on both those things and rode that wave straight into the ground. But I think, you know, nobody else I think could have done it the way they did it at the time, you know. So as far as deserve or need goes, I think they were the precise fit for that historical moment.
Brilliant answer. Paul Simmons said, as a bit of a music fan, and as next year is Transformers the movie's 40th anniversary, would love to see if there could be a basics done on how the movie soundtrack came together. It's an interesting question.
People have asked about musical episodes before, and you know, honestly, I'm not enough of a music guy. I think that's it would be a very dry collection of facts where the answer is mostly they rang the artist and asked if they could use the song, and they said yes.
I think you underestimate the power of your voice there, to be fair.
Flattery will get you everywhere, sir.
That's what people are, Mrs. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen on the show, do you have any questions for Chris?
Yes, I do have a question, Chris. Have you ever thought of doing a basics on up-and-coming toy photographers? It's people who have worked with Hasbro and have actually got their trademark next to a Hasbro trademark. Who are attractive, maybe Scotty.
I think they're good enough at self-promotion. They won't need me from the sounds of things.
Well played, Chris. Well played.
We've got another question. Luke said, are you still coming to the convention, please? Jermaine Ivy said, he's still finding out new things about the original Transformers toys comics or the cartoon that you weren't aware of before when you do your episodes.
You know, if I have to go diving in an old, you know, a lot of the scripts for the old cartoons, say, are available now. Not all of them, but almost all of the first two seasons, the scripts. And I've still, you know, I've perused them many's a time, but I've never sat down and read cover to cover a lot of them. And oftentimes when I do feel like I have to dive into an original script to check exactly how a sequence was meant to go or something, yeah, I'll find an extra bit of context or something that I didn't know before. Cartoon scripts, like stuff like that. That's as far as, you know, that's sort of like for me, like the holy grail, the white whale of classic paperwork, old Transformers reference texts, the stuff we still haven't got yet, you know, the answers to old questions that could still be found in there. I think some of the most recent ones that got turned up were some of the Five Faces of Darkness ones where, you know, you read those and you find out why Wheelie's voice sounds off in a couple of scenes in that multi-parter, because they had to re-record some lines later on because a whole idea that the writer had to change their speech patterns was dumped, and they had to re-record it later on. I love to learn new stuff like that, you know. Or you know, like I was just talking about discovering recently about that first transforming toy, that earlier transforming toy. That was and something I didn't know. And even sometimes like because a big part of the basics is, to me, I think that the best basics episodes, because sadly they aren't all able to do it, but the best basics episodes are the ones where I can really find a through line that really flows right the way through a character's history. When I'm not just describing alternate version after alternate version after alternate version, when you can see that there is a story about a character, each incarnation influencing the next, or if there's a story about like Cosmos is springing to mind, where that was a character who was constantly having toys and comics cancelled out from under him until he finally got his moment in the sun moments. And sometimes, yeah, I'll it's not necessarily, discovering new information, but I'll put 2 and 2 together on something that I'd never really thought about before, and I'd be like, oh yeah, look at that, see how that feeds into that. And it's not, it's not to say that in the real world that did happen, that one creator literally chose to mirror or continue on an idea. It's sometimes just parallel evolution, where 2 creators had similar ideas, and you can link them together and see how they rhyme. That when I'm writing a script, like, that tends to be some of the eureka moments, the aha moments sometimes that make a thing all come together, is when you find those little connections that you didn't see before. Haven't had one in a while. I want one. I need one.
Just following on from that, Chris, you've obviously done so many episodes and you've covered so many topics, characters, series, and all the rest of it. Do you think that's what keeps the enthusiasm flowing to keep making the episodes? The fact that you might discover some gold.
I won't lie. Lately, it's like, gosh, I could use a break, because this is May, so a couple of weeks' time, I'll have been at this for 8 years. It'll be my 8-year anniversary in June, and it's not that I'm running out of subjects. After 8 years, there are still a lot of like big name 84 guys. Even I still haven't done episodes about, and plenty of ones that I could still update. But what I do find is that the big topics, those tend to have mostly been covered. Things about Transformer culture and sociology, or ideas like Energon or transforming, sparks, protoforms, the big high concepts of the Transformers universe that it's important to explain. Like, I was considering recently some of my very earliest episodes where I talked about continuity, which is one that obviously could use an update, because there have been several more series that have come out since, and there's a new angle to take on the discussion of continuity. Because when I did that episode originally in 2017, the aligned continuity essentially hadn't quite ended yet, and Robots in Disguise hadn't finished airing, and Rescue Bots Academy was but a glimmer in the eye at that point. But now, 8 years on, that whole video is framed in a very wiki-esque way of looking at things, where it's easy, up to that point in history, it was very easy to divide Transformers into families: the Generation 1 family, the Unicron trilogy family, the movies, animated, the Aligned family. But ever since the end of Aligned, it's become much, much harder to do that, because of what Aligned did to continuity, where it introduced this monomyth, this unified vision, to quote myself many's a time over from my own videos, this definitive modern unified vision for the lore that has broad strokes remained true for everything that's come since, even though we've had like three or four brand new continuity cartoons, film in there as well, that technically, that by any standard we judge that thing would be considered a new family, a new bracketed out portion of the Transformers universe. But they all share this universal backstory that's not how it worked before. Sorry, I forgot what my point was, but that's an early episode. I was thinking that's one that needs an update. And like being able to talk about something like that, that's, more so than just about every incarnation of a character. That's something that gets me, well, you've just seen, gets me going, gets me rambling, gets me talking, gets me thinking.
that kind of maybe answered my question, because you already talked about how you've done updates and you were never too keen in doing a part 2. You know, I think you've done it at the odd time. But have you ever started to do work on a project and then you've had a eureka moment? Maybe it's because you've seen an article or you've got the toy in hand and you just want to do something on that character. You just get quite excited. You don't have anyone sponsoring you and you just think, I'm going to shelf the thing I'm working on right now and do this thing. Well, all the ideas are sort of, you know, lighting up like a Christmas tree in your head.
It tends to be the other way around, honestly. I'll do a video and accidentally pill myself on wanting the new toy of a character that I wasn't planning to get before. Ramjet being a good case in point. I'd sort of decided I wasn't going to bother getting the pack refresh of the Earthram.
Oh no!
Chris,
Come back, Chris.
Hopefully it's just a small internet glitch. Whilst we do that, ask me questions.
That was a heated question, obviously. It's broke the
Are we
internet.
going to be getting a sequel to the Social Corners intro video? And if so, will it be longer?
I can confirm that.
There we go.
Yeah,
All right, jumps.
Oh, he's back.
We're back.
What was the last thing I said?
Well, I started taking questions. They weren't as good as the questions you were getting. So I think
you said,
go on, Jamie.
You said it was the opposite. And
yes,
you were talking.
I find I'll accidentally pill myself on wanting a toy of a character I'm working on already. Though this year so far, actually, I had a sort of ideas planned out for like about the first half of the year, and I have found myself having to juggle them as like the schedule has slipped in one direction, and I find, oh no, it would be better to release that a little later, to tie in with the release of a toy, or like the Override video that just came out. That was a late stage decision where I realized that I needed to move something because of Skybound comics. If I released a video now, it sounds, we don't know for sure, but just based on solicits and everything, sounds like the video could be immediately outdated if I don't wait to see what Skybound is doing over here. So I got to bump that a little bit. What can go in here? And I was like, oh, do you know what I want to do? And I've been wanting to do it forever. And I don't know why it popped into my head, but I decided to do Override because that's one I'd been wanting to do forever because I've always liked the character. There's the weird little history of there being the trigger bot that nobody remembers in there. And that's another one of those videos where you can talk about how a character has fully eclipsed the one who previously held the name. So there's a bit of a narrative through line for the video about a new character taking over from an old one. And and that was one that came together very quickly in a way that some scripts haven't been recently. And I was like, yeah, this is good. I'm into the way this one's come together. You know, that was a fun one just because it was a spur of the moment choice, and it just happened to flow off my fingers very neatly. I was quite pleased with it.
One more.
Just there, Matt Davis said, the lovely Matt Davis said he wished he could think of a clever question. Can you just tell him he's a legend and the basics is pure gold? Cheers. And I think we all echo that, don't we?
All right. Thanks very much, Matt.
I had a contentious question to ask. Not contentious for you to respond, but in the sense, have you ever worked in something and you've got the video done and you're about to release it on YouTube and someone's done something very similar just that very night?
Not as close as that. There have been some instances where Rodimus Primal has, by complete coincidence, wound up releasing a video about the same subject. I think I remember the first time it was Omega Supreme, but that was clearly because we both released it on the weekend of the San Diego Comic-Con where the toy was formally revealed, and it was clear we'd both chosen that day to specifically do that. We both happened to release RC on the same day as well. I don't remember if that was a specific day. I don't think it was International Women's Day or anything like that. I think it just was a weird coincidence. And then similarly, it wasn't exactly the same day, but we did both do Metal Hawk around the same time as well, which was a more random. Like, what were the odds of that happening? But I've never pushed one back specifically because I saw someone else had done it. Because, you know, the work will just speak for itself, you know.
Okay.
Night Hunter said he was saying about Rodimus Prime was super. He met him at TFCon. Have you gone to any of the US conventions?
I want to get over and do a TFCon.
He must be inviting you and asking you over.
I've never been invited to a TFCon, no, but I'm definitely amicable in maybe about 3 years or so. Wouldn't chance it right about no. Yeah, I did one BotCon before it went under. I was at went to 2014, and I really do. I've been saying for years I must get over and do a TFCon, invited or not, or just go to the attendee, just to do the hat trick, do the big three, you know, but to say I was able to do the big three: TFCon, BotCon, and TF Nation. But haven't made it yet, and well, currently the Canadian one would probably be the only one I would be looking at, but we'll see in a few years, perhaps.
There is another question, Paul, that I've just spotted from Jamie from Scotland, who asked, "Could you do a basics on the throttle bots?" I'm not really sure what that's about. It's a strange one. I've not seen that comment before.
It's on the list, you know, because I don't know how I would approach it. I feel like I would approach it like from a chase-based angle, because he's the one.
Is there enough? Like when you're looking into these characters, you really have to refill the video, haven't you?
Like there's their very scant cartoon appearances. There's Marvel. They got enough in Marvel that you could talk for a minute about what they do in Marvel. And Chase has rescue bots, and he was the one that got the Titans Return toy as well. But once you're past that, I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, like, Freeway. So I'm running the names through my head, and like, there must have been some other guys. I mean, there's the animated crowd fillers that were made of a bunch of them, but Freeway, Searchlight, have those names ever been recycled on anybody? If they have, like, they're probably just little background mini cons or something somewhere.
I mean, you do quite a bit in Goldbug.
Goldbug, sure. Goldbug could have his own video. That's the thing. And I was like, do I do a Goldbug video and then sneak the throttle bots in on the end? But then I feel like
you do.
But then I'm not serving. But then I'm not serving Chase.
Use Bumblebee as a Trojan horse for throttle bots.
Sneak them in there.
I think it'll ultimately come down to, like, Goldbug will probably have his own episode before I do get around to the throttle bots. It's like, really, they're probably just like one. It's kind of like Lugnut. They're probably just like one more really standout toy or appearance away from having just enough to wring an episode out of them.
And I'll say this till the day I die, but thank you very much for doing the basics on Double Dealer. I must watch that thing probably once a week.
That, again, you know, that's a case where they brought out an Earthrise toy, and it's like, right there, that's enough. Now there's enough to get it up to a reasonable run.
Like, thank you, Hasbro.
Yeah, because he managed to do that on one issue, but he was in one issue of a comic, you know. But
yeah, but then he was also like a major character in a TV cartoon. So.
Yeah, major character in Master Force there, Jamie.
And then he was in Netflix.
Rollbar got an odd Rollbar. That's the throttle bot whose name's been reused a bajillion times. Like, so much so you could probably do an episode about rollbars.
All the rollbars.
What is that? You know, it's just like doing an episode on it's like doing an episode on ransacks. You know, there are so many ransacks, but none of them are the same as another one. There is no one definitive ransack. It's just an episode that's a list of different guys.
There's lots of thank yous for different things. So Melshade, Tarantulas, thank you.
Oh,
Nikki's just done her first Transformer.
Came out. Tarantulas, that's a good one. You know, an example of how if you look at the two ends of Tarantulas' story, you've got the freaked out weirdo from Beast Wars, and then the sad gay spider from Earthspark. And on the surface of it, like, what's the connective thread? And the connective thread in the middle there is how the character was handled in IDW, what it took from Beast Wars and what it introduced to the character, and then those new introductions were drawn out to create what became in the Earthspark character. And that's when I mean, like, I love doing Beast Wars character ones anyway. I always think that some of the ones where my enthusiasm for the material is probably most apparent, because I just love talking about Beast Wars characters.
You're a man of taste.
Aye.
that Earthspark Tarantulas, I love that episode with with Tarantulas in it. I'd love them to do an updated figure of Tarantulas in that style. I just thought it looked fantastic, and the actual episode was really good.
I think
I don't think necessarily Tarantulas was the best character to use in the episode. That's the funny thing about it. It's like it's clearly, you know, it's an episode that's the story is what the story is, and the writer was like, there's a role in this story where I need like a Decepticon that Nightshade's going to befriend and learn from. What Decepticon will I use? And it was what Nick Roach did with Tarantulas in Earthspark that led May Cat to use that character in that role. But it doesn't really fit with anyone's mental picture of Tarantulas. And I'm not 100% sure it succeeded on its own terms, because, you know, the episode is all about it's about alternate modes and about how the alternate mode defines not that the alternate mode defines who you are, but the alternate mode is an expression of who you are, a way of showing the world what you are and who you are inside. And I'm like, oh, okay, so why does Tarantulas look like a big up freak and talk like that? And that's not a writing issue. That was like who they cast, Alfie Allen, to do the voice. My name is Tarantulas. Hello, how'd you do? Lovely to see you. Very nice. There was a disc. I think if they'd given him a creepy weirdo voice, I probably wouldn't even be having this chat. I feel like there was a disconnect in production with that episode that I don't think it got all the way there. But you know, any of the Maycat episodes of Earthspark are some of the best episodes of Earthspark either way. So I'm not refuting what you're saying. It's just it's this one thing about that Earthspark episode that holds me back from like absolutely loving it and holding it up as one of the best in the show, because that one thing. It's why does he talk like that?
I think that's one of the reasons you're very popular is you're not scared to share your opinion. There's a lot of people
rarely in the video, but you get me in the comments, then we'll have a chat.
And this year, TFN, is it on your plans? Will you be there?
Oh yes, attendance? Absolutely. You'll be seeing me on the stage with Jim Sorensen. We can't say what it is yet, but it's pretty big.
Oh wow!
Remember that movie presentation from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I do.
Talking more on the level of that.
Only the dogs can hear him in his
I was going to say, this must be good.
Yeah, it's we got something. It's been a white whale of mine for a while, and yeah,
a white whale.
It's gonna be good. Yeah,
your Ahab.
Nice. Can't wait.
But it will be announced beforehand. There'll be no coyness about it. Once it's announced, they won't be playing games with it. It will be fully announced. You know, it's like, you may remember we were a little coy about the original movie script presentation. Yeah. There will be no coyness this time. Once it's announced, you'll know what it is.
Gosh.
It's a chance you'll get very drunk at TFUKCon next weekend and just tell people.
Not likely, no. I don't tend to get drunk at these things anymore.
Paul,
I went through my phase of that for a while, and it just made Sundays unenjoyable.
Yeah. We'll see.
TFUKCon is only a one-day show, so
Wags, if you're watching, it's time for Cocktail Club. Let's get some drinks.
Right, anything else, co-hosts? Because we're going to round up the show, I think.
I just noticed every time we talk about Beast Wars, we seem to get interference, and I swear to God, it's coming from Pete. I think it is.
Jamming it.
It's the glint in my eye.
Mental anger.
Well, listen, Chris, thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute hoot having you on. You've been absolutely amazing. And thanks to my co-hosts as well. And thank you for watching and all the lovely comments and the questions as well for Chris. It's been brilliant. We're going to see you next week. If all goes well, in Birmingham, and hopefully see quite a few of you there as well too. That's it for Transfer Show. Please head to the Facebook page. You can see us there, and we will chat and generally just get a little bit excited for next week. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
See you there, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's time for Transformers, the show!